What's up, guys? Bluddshed here, and welcome to the Bludd Heart Podcast. What we do here is talk about all things Diablo 3, what's going on in the community, the live stream. I stream six days a week on Twitch. I get lots of colorful comments, let's just say. We post episodes on Tuesdays, and you can find us on all major platforms like Stitcher, Apple Music, Spotify, pretty much everywhere. Whenever I say comment down below, it's mostly me talking about YouTube, obviously, but you can always hit me up on Twitter Bluddshed, pretty much the same way it's spelled everywhere. That's why it's spelled so stupid. So yeah, anyway, this week's topics include Diablo 4 speculation. Also, what a great year it is for gaming. There's a lot of bangers coming out, and we're going to cover some of them today. And we're going to go through next season's buffs. Like, what do you want buffed for season 18, right? I know it's a little early, but I get a lot of these questions and it does segue into other topics. But first of all, Bluddshed, what's going on in your life? Well, guys and girls, I'm super happy. I'm feeling relieved. I had kind of a crazy 2 weeks there, figuring out the podcast, the artwork, going through what the name's going to be, while still, streaming 6 days a week. And we're podcasters now, right? This is episode 2. Figuring out the podcast, lining up the stream and YouTube content. It's been a little hectic, so I guess I'm feeling relieved that it's all taken care of and we're back to normalcy. Like, a lot of the craziness is behind us. And yeah, and I was a little worried about the podcast getting approved on like Apple and Spotify. People were saying that they could get rejected. There's a lot of problems that could crop up, like your name or like the artwork. There's just a lot of things, I guess, that could have went wrong, but we got approved on a lot of all the platforms within 24 hours. That was such a weight off my shoulders. I was really, really excited about that one. So I'm happy that that's also done and taken care of. If you listen to podcasts on a different platform, again, just comment on YouTube or tweet me. I'll try to get it on there. I have to go through, make an account, submit the podcast, and it has to get approved. But from this point, it's easier to add one per week than, to do 4 or 5 at a time. So let me know if there's something you really want. I will try to make that happen for you. Again, I'm so happy I can provide more content continuously throughout the season and not just front load it all before the season goes live. It's kind of like before the season, we have the patch note video. We have all the guides, the speed builds. Sometimes we go into tier lists and starter guides. There's like a lot of videos just kind of crammed in, like right before. It's like every day you guys are getting a video because there's just so much. There's an overload of information. And once the season goes live, I'm grinding alongside the community. I don't really have time to make the videos, or it's not as relevant because everyone had already picked their class. They already know everything for the most part, right? Like, you have all that information already. So it's like crazy cramming, and then once the season goes live, just dead silent. So a thing like this, a podcast like this, will let you know how I'm doing for the week, what the community's talking about, what's going on, and maybe provide more continuous content. So I'm excited. It's underway. Things are looking good. I've also been thinking about adding stream highlights to YouTube as well. We do stream Dead by Daylight. It's in a really hilariously like a horror hide and seek survivor/killer game, right? There's 4 survivors, 1 killer. We have to repair generators to power the gate so we can run out, escape, and he or she has to stop us. So this is what I've been playing. It creates a lot of fun moments. So I might do a weekly or bi-weekly stream highlight video. If you guys want to see that, let me know on YouTube or wherever. You can contact me, even in Discord. You can join the community on Discord. I'll put links everywhere, obviously, for you guys. So maybe a bi-weekly stream highlight might be a good thing if you guys want to see that. But what you're all been waiting for, on to Diablo news. Now, we really have to address this, okay? It's got to be said. I know every year we go through this, but this is what the community is talking about, okay? So I'll rip the Band-Aid off. Diablo 4 has been shown to employees. Let me bring up the website here. A French website called Le Monde, right? Le Monde. There's employees that work in the French branch, right? These employees revealed According to the translation, teams at Blizzard Entertainment have already been presented with the long-awaited Diablo 4 and know that a new Overwatch game is in development. So I'm going to stop right here. Last year we had Goldman Sachs, which is a really reputable stock company in America. They reported Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 were coming. It didn't come. And then now this is another website or another source pretty much reporting the same thing, right? I never do Diablo 4 content. I think it's just, it's just fake hype, all that stuff. But I finally, after all the years of making videos, I made one Diablo 4 video last year. And that was because I'm a big guy. I'm into stocks. I mean, I'm a big guy into stocks, right? So when Goldman Sachs reported that, I was kind of taken back, like, whoa, like this is something like, I'm kind of in the world and it's something completely different. And they're a publicly traded company, so maybe they have to report their future plans to shareholders and things like that. So to me, it kind of made sense that maybe it would have gotten out that way. So this happened last year. I made the video. I was convinced we were getting D4. We didn't get it. We didn't get the announcement or anything. Apparently they just didn't have time to make a trailer, that they were working on it. Like, this is all speculation. I just stop everything. This is all complete speculation. We don't know. All right. This is just all like he said, she said from multiple sources, the Jason Schreier dude or whatever from Kotaku, from Goldman Sachs, and, all kinds of stuff. So apparently the employees might not be around. They laid off 30% of their employees, but they did boost developers and people to help create more content and push out more games. So I guess these guys think like, hey, we're not going to be around, right? Like, we might not be here. So if we can sell information, or they just want to drop dime on Blizzard about like their future announcements, who knows why they reported what they did. This website could be making it up completely. Most websites aren't going to reveal their sources, right? They're anonymous, but that's apparently what happened, right? They might not be here. It says Le Monde concentrates on the struggle Blizzard Europe. They've been like part of this like purge or whatever. Or they might be part of the purge or whatever. So that's why they revealed it or whatever. I don't know. So you be the judge. But these people said that, and everyone's been running with it all week. It seems crazy, the whole thing, but it does line up with, like I said, the stock report from last year. Otherwise, I would think it's just another fake hype kind of situation. The translation also says that neither of these two games will be released before 2020. I mean, that makes sense. They're not going to release anything. It's halfway through 2019, man. So that's not really a lot, right? That goes without saying. They're not going to announce it at BlizzCon and then release it that same month. That's crazy. So neither of these games will release before 2020. At the very best, employees at Versailles, that's the name of the branch, is the Versailles branch in France. And I'll put links to the different ones in the description of the YouTube video if you guys want to read it for yourself. They have no idea if they will be around to eventually see the release, right? Blizzard will be making less profit, but this will still be a lot of profit, says a veteran employee. It seems that BlizzCon this year will be quite eventful, and we can finally get teasers for both of these titles. So Overwatch 2 should be like a PvE type game, where, remember Junkenstein's Revenge? That was such a fun mode, right? They've been doing a lot of PvE stuff in general. It's almost like they're testing the market for an Overwatch 2, right? There's no way they're going to make another PvP version of Overwatch. They invested so much money in like the esports and like, marketing the mode, and everybody has the game. It just doesn't make sense why they would release another Overwatch so soon, but it does make sense that they would release a story mode. Right. If you don't know about Overwatch, it's like a team shooter brawler, whatever. There's no story mode in the game. Like, it launched with just PvP. So it makes sense that they probably always had this plan. They knew that the world is beautiful, fleshed out. Even though there's no story mode, we know so much about the characters, the backstory, Reaper, the freaking Talon. I think it's called Talon. There's like all kinds of history there. Like, Winston was on the moon base and all this stuff. There's been comics and just the various media forms to tell stories, like cinematics and things like that. So I love Overwatch lore for the most part. I don't really, a big fan of hamster balls swinging around in my games, but besides, Hammond or whatever his name is, besides him, I'm a big fan of the lore. So I can dig it. I would play 100%. I would buy and play a Overwatch story mode or Overwatch 2, the story edition. I don't know, the last story, whatever it's called. I would totally be into that, right? And of course, a Diablo 4, I would totally be into. There was other reports on other websites. I was reading all the different articles across the board. They kind of mentioned that in development, the Kotaku guy said that, it was supposed to be a third-party Diablo game like Dark Souls or some kind of progression game. And then like those games have kind of taken off if you think about it. Like Assassin's Creed, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, God of War, like incredibly well received. Like this is kind of the market. What was the other one? Shadow of War, like the Shadow of Mordor. Like a lot of these games are big tickets and they sell a lot. Like Skyrim, right? They kind of fill the Skyrim void that we're missing. So it makes sense that Blizzard would make a game like that. Apparently that was supposed to be Diablo 4, but they're back to the isometric camera angle, which makes me incredibly happy. Like it seems crazy to me. Like you wouldn't create the meta, right? They basically created the meta of Diablo, of isometric ARPGs. You wouldn't just give that up, right? Whenever somebody sees something on an interviewer reviews a game, or you tell your friends, you say, hey friend, I want to tell you something. This is a game. And they go, what kind of game? You go, it's like Diablo, right? That's what people say. So you wouldn't give that up. So whoever's idea it was to make it third person, an actual Diablo 4 title is crazy. Like actually crazy. I can't believe they would even consider that. But if you're making a spin-off game, then that's cool, right? We can make spin-off games. You can make a Bloodborne Diablo spin-off. I don't care what you do. But if you lose the main vision of your series, that seems wild to me. But I don't make games. I only play them, comment on them and stuff like that. But man, losing, like that'd be like Dota just giving up and saying, okay, League, you can have it. We're going to make a different game. I guess they made this whole battle chess thing that's going around. But anyway, so yeah, it looks like there's a big chance we'll get Diablo 4 announced at BlizzCon. But again, I'm curbing my expectations. I'm dialing back. I'm not going to get too overly excited because, again, we've been burned before. I don't even burned is the right word, but we've been let down before, especially false hope, like empowering ourselves, like the community, like one person runs with it and says something and then it just kind of spreads like wildfire. Like the hype train, once it's gone, man, it's hard to stop until the reality sets in and they announce it or don't announce it. So I know I'm kind of rambling back and forth, but yeah, okay. That's it for Diablo 4. All right, we'll get into more BlizzCon stuff in a minute. I want to talk about some users in the community. Users named Rage and Free. They're from the Barb community in Diablo 3. They did this like multi-page write-up proposal, right? Talking about all kinds of changes. Let me bring it up here. Talking about all kinds of changes. Bringing back Mortix's Brace. Deep diving into the core problems of Barbs. Identifying what the problems are, like with the Wrath of the Wasteland and Rend. Offering solutions. I'll put a link to their write-up and their post in the description as well. Man, they really went the extra mile. And they reached out to me and I read it. I read through everything and it looks really good. I'm super kind of taken back that people would take their time to submit this. I sent it to Blizzard and hopefully they look it over and maybe make a few of these changes because there's a lot of good ones in here. The Mortix's Brace one really won me over, right? But they talked about buffing, the 300 Spear, the Oathkeeper, bringing back Lawn, basically with some of these passives like the Toughen Nails. They want to increase the Thorns damage to 800%. And they said with this change combined with the buff to Bastion's Revered will allow for Frenzy Thorns to recapture some of its former glory. Now, we did a video just like this where we said, what do you want to see different in Diablo 3? Because Blizzard asked us themselves. Nevelis posted on the forums and she said, she goes, what do you guys want to see buffed in the future? And that made me think, wow, Blizzard's asking us. Blizzard's going out of their way to actually ask us what we want to see buffed. So we did a whole video on it. I'll link that also in the description. it's like, what would you want to see buffed? And we talked about, we redesigned the Wrath of the Way set. We looked at every single class and talked about things like Crider Shot Demon Hunter, Elemental Arrow Demon Hunter, Zombie Bear Witch Doctor. Like, I really went through and offered changes for pretty much for every class and like multiple sets within the class, right? I didn't want to go too crazy, so I did about 2 to 3 per, and it was a good one. We had a crazy discussion. I told the stream and YouTube that Blizzard's going to look at this video and they're going to read the comments. And I reached out to a dev and he did actually read the video and the comments. So you can probably still post on it. They might double check on it, back here and then. So man, that was a good video. And hopefully they take some of our changes, some of these barbarian changes that people are making, and run with it, right? If you guys want to see any specific changes, you should comment in this video, as Blizzard probably would watch this video on YouTube before an older video. But at the time, they reached out and they said they loved the video, they loved the feedback and all that stuff. So hopefully we make some good positive changes here in Diablo 3. Some of the other ones were Thorn's Barb. I really want to see Thorn's Barb. That was one of my favorite builds as well. I feel like there's a lot there that they can grow and improve on with that. One skill I really like is the Shield Bash Crusader. Like, you actually teleport around and hit things with your shield. That's what drew me to Grim Dawn this year was, man, we don't have like an actual shield attacking type class, right? And then we don't have like a frenzy type melee class either. So that's why these two kind of playstyles really speak to me. They're not really in the game, and they're pretty dynamic as well, and like visceral. I think I like the visceral stuff, and hopefully these things get changed. But yeah, so back to Diablo 4 stuff. One of the most popular podcast, one of the most popular questions I get is, do you think they're going to announce it? And will I be there? So yes, I think they'll announce Diablo 4. I think it'll be a teaser trailer with no gameplay, like maybe a small cinematic, and it'll say soon evil will awaken or something like that, right? You'll hear Kane's voice in the background. Maybe they'll freaking resurrect zombie Kane, young Kane. I don't know. It'll be like some kind of way to progress the story further, some trailer. And they might talk about systems that they plan on adding into the game without any gameplay being shown. There might be a little bit of gameplay, but I would say just like a cinematic, and they'll talk about what their plans are, the systems and stuff like that. Maybe that's weird with no gameplay, now that I think about it, but we'll see. Anyway, I think it'll be announced, and I think that it'll be darker and more grim, because even with Diablo Immortal's art style, like everything looks a little more unpolished in a way. Like they're going for that older vibe. It looks a little more grittier, not as colorful. A lot of the spells did have more impact feeling, like more visceral, like I said, even for a phone game, man, right? So you can only imagine D4 for PC will pack a real punch. That's what I think. And will I be there? Yes, I did get invited to BlizzCon. This should be my 4th BlizzCon in a row. So if you guys are there, come up and say, what's up, Bludd, right? And I will be walking around. I probably will be busy because I'll go to, like, I usually make videos, or they have like these developer interview rooms, and I go talk to the devs there. That way, when I come back to the stream, I can provide more insight, just than I could before, I guess, than the normal person, because I get to talk to the devs and interview them and see where their head's at and what's going on. So I am busy, but there's a lot of time where I'm just walking around, chilling, come say what's up and all that stuff. And I'd love to talk to you and meet you. But yeah, I'll be there for sure. I might stream the opening ceremony from my hotel room, because I do like hanging out with the community. Like I just love hanging out with my community. You guys are like all my friends, and it makes it even better. But we'll see how that goes. I don't know how the hotel internet's going to hold up and things like that. So yeah, another popular question I get is, I'm not progressing. Yo, Bludd, why am I not progressing, man? I'm doing everything right. And let me tell you, man, all right? I've streamed Diablo on Twitch 6,000 hours, just about 6,000 hours. I should bring it up to get you the exact number. All right, 6K. A lot of questions were answered. A lot of things happened in that time. And every time I do a gear check, let's say you're trying to do 100, right? This is the average thing that happens when I do a gear check. Blood, I can't complete a GR 100. I do a gear check and I go, your legendary gems are way away from 100. Like your gems are 70s or 80s or sometimes 50s, right? Make sure your legendary gems are close to the level you're trying to complete, like at least in the 90s, for instance. Number 2, make sure you have the right build, man. A lot of times I feel like when I do the gear check, I look at everything and they take some liberty somewhere. They'll be like, I don't need this. And it completely domino effects and ruins the whole build, okay? Check out my Patreon page. I have tons of builds there, free for everyone to peruse. There's some other amazing creators all over YouTube and Diablo fans pretty much everywhere. So go through, make sure your build is spot on. Check the leaderboard even, make sure it's kind of lining up. The leaderboard isn't always the best place because they're pushing with higher Paragon and they're surviving usually in softcore, especially with a hyper glass cannon build. The higher and higher you go, the more crazier the build needs to do more damage, because you're competing with other people who are fishing hundreds of keys, right? So the build might be just a specific mob type that they can clear. It might not be the best build for you. So gems leveled, build on point, and then finally your gameplay needs to be tight, right? So many times I'll do a gear check and they'll be like, their max discipline with the Demon Hunter is under cap, or they don't have enough cooldown for Wave of Light, or they don't have something where the gameplay is also off. Like they're not doing the thing that they need to do. They're not staying back. They're not, like I talked to a person about Hoda Barb today, right? And you have to charge and build up your charges in between COE cycles. And they were just always using Hoda. So you didn't actually have your charges. So you have to charge, build up your charges, right? And then right before fire cycle, get in position and then DPS through fire cycle only. And then again, you leave, build up your charges. If you're just DPSing the whole time, you don't have a lot of build up there and you're not really doing your damage. So the gameplay is of utmost importance. Ask me on stream, watch the videos multiple times and try to get your gameplay down packed. Okay. And then once you have all these things, gems, gameplay, build, then augment with your highest level augments that you've built up to that point. Augment lasts typically. Depending on the build, you should be able to do at least a GR 100 to a 120-ish with no augments. So build it up and then push it from there. So hopefully that helps you guys out. This question, I guess because a lot of people are in the mode where they've plateaued and they just can't progress from where they are, right? So that kind of stuff helps. We also have a video on the channel called How to Progress in Diablo 3 by Bluddshed. So you can Google that and figure it out if you want a little bit more in-depth answer, I guess. Wow. Okay. What else do we got on the docket here? Other news. All right. In other news, man, I just want to say this is going to be an actually insane gaming year. We're talking Borderlands 3, the sequel to Borderlands 2, the best looter shooter ever created. Oh my God. I can't wait to stream this and play it with my community. It's going to be so much fun. Borderlands 3. We also have Monster Hunter World Iceborne. In the future podcast, I'll probably go into more detail about all of these games, but today I just want to kind of show you how stacked the year is, okay? And I'm probably going to miss some, so let me know what I miss. Monster Hunter World Iceborne expansion. Monster Hunter is currently my second most streamed game on Twitch. I love this game, man. Lots of being proud of your gear, grinding really hard for everything and getting the perfect setup and tweaking your build. I've spent hours just looking at the build and how I can get more attack, get more of this and that. It's amazing. So Borderlands, Monster Hunter. Lost Ark is getting an English client. Inside sources report that it's coming. There is a Russian client right now. And then there's like an English mode, I believe, on the Russian client. So it looks like it's almost done. We might be getting it at some point this year. That's going to be huge. If you don't know, Lost Ark is an ARPG MMO. It's fast paced, even though the kills are a little bit slower. It's like an MMO a little bit, but it's still like an ARPG. There's crazy over the top action. There's going to be crafting, PvP, exploration, ships, and daily quests. It's like it's crazy, right? I've been following this game for a while. It looks pretty wild. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to deep dive into it. You could get access if you got like a Korean phone number and there was like some ways to get an account and play it. You can play it right now with some like loopholes and VPNs, and it's just not something I want to do. I'm way too chill. This is way too much work. When we get the English client, I'll play it. But yeah, that should release this year at some point, at least like the beta, or it should be open beta at some point. Also, we have WoW Classic, which we talked about last week, and Pokemon. Right, Pokemon Gen 8 is coming. That's going to be pretty exciting. At E3, they showed off these crazy raids, kind of like Pokemon Go, right? And you like get together with your friends and you take down a Pikachu raid boss. I don't know, man. It looks kind of wild. And then you have a chance to catch them after that. And you can see other people in the open world. It's the closest thing we're going to get to a Pokemon MMO for a while, I believe. But it's coming, right? Lots of bangers. And then, of course, Diablo content. And probably many more games. Lots of insane stuff coming. I'm really excited about that. As far as movies and TV go, I haven't actually watched that much this week. Just some WWE, some World Wrestling Entertainment. I love it, man. I fell in love with it during the Attitude Era, like the Stone Cold, The Rock, and all that stuff. I guess when I was a kid, I watched a little bit of Hogan. But yeah, mostly the Attitude Era, I'd say. And I like it because it's always entertaining. There's always nonsense. It's like a big the whole show's like a giant troll, right? Somebody cheats to win, or somebody does some nefarious thing backstage. And I guess it's like a soap opera. It's just it looks like a big troll to me, and it's always going to be entertaining. The levels of entertainment varies from week to week, but it's always like it's scripted, right? So it's like it's going to be fun. I just watched Stomping Grounds on Sunday, and it was a pretty good pay-per-view. There was some big moments with Seth and Becky Lynch, and I enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't the best pay-per-view, but it wasn't the worst. I thought there was some big moments. I was surprised Samoa Joe lost. Also, that was kind of weird. I think that's going to be all for me this week. A big shout out to the newest patrons, Amputee and Juanathito. Thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for becoming a patron and supporting the podcast and the YouTube channel, and me, I guess, in general. Means a lot, man. If you guys want to support, you can always sub on Twitch, YouTube, or Patreon, pretty much anywhere. You can follow me and rate the podcast. You can go on the different websites and offer a rating. That's really cool. It definitely helps us grow, and other people can see the podcast, and we can make new friends and all that stuff. But my voice is actually shredded. This is the Bluddshed, and I'm out of here. Peace.